Wow. Okay. So, UFC 261, Kamaru Usman defeated Jorge Masvidal via knockout in the second round. Wow. If you gave me 15 scenarios of how this fight was going to finish, this would not have been the one that I picked. I thought Masvidal would win. The main reason I thought Masvidal would win is because I'm a Masvidal fan. Anytime I do any sort of pick, it's always with a fan's head on and not really a logical head on. As can probably be seen by my picks for the main card, where I picked Masvidal, Andrade, Jimmy Crute, and Weili Zhang. I did pick Uriah Hall though, so I'll keep that one. In any event, so the main event, Kamaru Usman and Jorge Masvidal. This was, I feel like it was a coming out party for Usman. Now, for me, I feel harsh saying that because obviously he's been putting in performance after performance after performance, and he's unbeaten in the UFC, and he's unbeaten in his last 17 fights or whatever it is. So to label this as a coming out party is a little bit harsh, but his last fight with Masvidal, there was the excuse that Masvidal didn't have the camp. The fight before that, he put in a fantastic performance against Colby Covington, but he did lose 2 of the rounds. Albeit he got the finish and broke his jaw, he did lose 2 of the rounds. Prior to that, he beat a Tyron Woodley when Tyron Woodley was kind of coming down. And his performance against Gilbert Burns, I was critical of because Gilbert Burns probably could have finished that fight, but he didn't. So, for me, I'm overly critical of Kamaru Usman, but I can't deny what I saw on Saturday night. That was a world-class performance by a world-class athlete, the reigning, defending, undisputed welterweight champion of the world. Is he the GOAT? No. But for me, I feel like to have a conversation about who the GOAT is, I don't like it when they're still active. And I know that's difficult, but I feel like it's a work of art. And you can't judge the work of art until the work of art's finished. You know, if you paint half of the Mona Lisa and stick it on the wall, people are like, well, I don't know yet. I don't know. I don't know if you're going to finish it well enough. Do you see what I mean? So when people talk about whether he's better than George St. Pierre, GSP's retired and his work is done and we can all look at it, examine it and decide where we want to grade it. If everyone now is calling Kamaru Usman the greatest of all time, well, if he goes out and gets knocked out in his next 3 fights, guess what? He's not the greatest of all time. So I feel that until he stops fighting, we won't be able to correctly decide if he's the greatest of all time or not. And you can disagree with me on that. That's not a problem. That's what this is all about. But if you're asking me if Kamaru Usman is the GOAT, no, he is not the GOAT. GSP went through the division twice, and Kamaru Usman has started doing that again. So I'm not saying he's not the GOAT, but I'm also not saying that he is. What's next for him? Colby Covington. We obviously saw how close that fight was. Very good fight. Kind of sells itself. They've got the backstory. They don't like each other. I would imagine we'd see more of the same thing. And then you've got to think that after that, the winner of Nate Diaz and Leon Edwards will be next for Colby Covington, which will most likely be Leon Edwards, but who knows? So, as far as the fight went, the first round, striking-wise, was pretty similar. Usman did take Masvidal down, controlled him on the floor. Not too much damage done either way. Masvidal gets back up to his feet. More striking exchanges. I do think there was a knee that landed for Masvidal that perhaps wobbled Kamaru a tiny bit, but other than that, Masvidal looked like he normally looks, but he looked a little bit less polished. He looked like he was overthinking things, maybe. I don't know. Kamaru looked very tense, everything he did. Arms to the side like a robot, tense, stiff jab. And when he hit that right hand was a piston of a right hand. And yeah, Masvidal KO'd. It was a very weird thing to see a guy that hasn't been knocked out in his career. But I know he got T-KO'd in 2008 or 9, but that was a knockout. As in, he was out. No denying, no questions, nothing like that. So, Very impressive by Usman. What does Masvidal do next? I mean, that was his 50th pro fight. You've got to think that's the last chance for him to get a belt. Would I like to see him fight Nate Diaz again? Yeah. I'd like to see him fight Colby Covington as well. So both of those fights are out there for Nate Diaz. For Masvidal, sorry. And I'd like to see either of them. Obviously, we know what's next for Usman, and he goes on and will fight Colby Covington. So, really, really impressive performance from Usman. I still don't particularly like him. I find his press conferences a bit forced. I find him a bit boring. And when I say boring, I know Dana got all upset about calling him boring. I find him boring. I don't find his fights boring. I find him a bit boring. And that's mainly because his press conferences feel a bit forced, a bit manufactured. So, yeah, very impressive performance from him. Take nothing away. One little side note. Again, the MMA media asked the question as to whether or not the shots after the knockout were necessary. And it's really infuriating to hear them ask the same questions. They should know the rule. You fight till the ref tells you to stop. If the ref doesn't tell you to stop, you fight. And that's how that works. So I don't know why they keep sort of bringing out the same old rhetoric about these stoppages. It's down to the referee. It's not down to the fighter. We saw with Sugar Sean O'Malley tried to have a walk-off KO. That didn't work, did it? So you fight till the referee pulls you off. And that's the end of it. So, there we go. Kamaru Usman defeats Jorge Masvidal via knockout. Who'd have thunk it?